Hey Weeder man, it's a nasty day today on a Thursday. I just dropped off the lawnmower for the customer that I did repairs on. They're completely, extremely happy. Everything's done, up and running. It's all about the customer. You take care of the people. When you run a business, the customer's got to be number one. You got to give them more than they ask for and make a friendship with them. You got to do that. That's the way I was taught when I was a kid. You can't just take their money and run. You got to give them what they deserve. The value of the money for a person doing a business needs to come back to where the business appreciates just making a penny. I had this business guy one time. He owned a steel dealership. I'll talk about this real quick. Nice steel dealership, $1 million business, easy, on the corner. Owned the corner, owned it. But the owner, in my personal opinion, was lazy. I'll tell you why. The owner would only work steel and didn't want to work a lot of aftermarket stuff. Weed eaters, Troy-Bilts, Ryobis. I get that, I do. But a lot of times a customer really didn't want you to work it. They wanted you to listen to them. They wanted you to attempt to work it. They wanted you to come back and diagnose it like a doctor and say, hey, you know, I know you love this weed eater, Ryobi, Troy-Bilt. I know you do. I really know you do. But it's not worth fixing, right? You've had it 7 years, 8 years. It's worn out. The gaskets are bad. It's time to move on. And they get that, right? I don't know how to drive. And they get that. That's all they want. I've had customers and I told them, hey, that weed eater, that Ryobi, Troy-Bilt, whatever aftermarket was, I said, it's worn out. Carburetor's bad. It's not worth fixing. And they say, well, Henry, what would you recommend? And I'll say, hey, go get a big name brand like a Husqvarna Steel, Echo, Shindawa, EFCO, another good product, EFCO. And I'd tell them to go get something else. And they would say, well, can I buy it through you? And I'd say, sure, I sell EFCO. And I'd sell them an EFCO weed eater. Or I'd take them down to a steel dealer and I'm working my deal with a steel dealer. But back to the story. The steel dealer owner was lazy. He'd sit on his computer. He had more I gave him my email address. He had more time to email me and send me junk email and stupid shit, excuse the French, than working on stuff and fixing it. And he had a mechanic that had a spot that looked like it was horrific. I would have known that he was a mechanic. It was dirty, tools laying everywhere. I didn't know what he was working on. Products laying all over. Customers not picking up stuff. It was just not run correctly. So I wanted to help him. I had an idea. I fixed some things for him. I did some work on the side to prove I could do it. And lo and behold, a couple years later, went bankrupt, shut down, had to sell the place. Multi-million, possibly multi-million-dollar workshop. Could probably have 3-4 mechanics going, pumping out stuff and doing stuff. And ended up going belly up and a bunch of other crap and closing the doors. Sad part, I said, hey, I'd buy it. I wanted to buy it and open it up. I was getting ready to retire from the Navy. I thought it was a good gig. I offered him $300,000. He took the bankruptcy and let it go. And anyway, the moral of the story is, take care of your customer. Do what you got to do. Look at what they have. And the bottom line is, work it if you make a penny. I told him, if you were to just pull in $5, if you were to just make $10, that stuff that's going to keep the light on, keep the toilets flushing, and keep the power going, right, and keep your people employed. He didn't want to do it. So what he ended up doing? Going bankrupt. So the moral of the story is, you're running a business. Take whatever you can take. If you can make 3 on it, make 3 on it. You make 10 on it, make 10. You can make 1,000, make 1,000. But don't think every customer is $1,000, because it's not going to happen, right? And then what'll happen is you end up closing your doors. So anyways, the moral of the story is, don't take the customer, help the customer, and the customer will help you, and you will be able to thrive and have a business that makes millions of dollars, and you have clientele that always come back. Anyways, Henry the Weeder Man out. I talked long enough. Sorry about that. Have a good night.